Hello. Welcome to my studio. And I'm working on a cake. I'll show you in a second. And as always, I'm procrastinating. If you know anything about me, I love to procrastinate. And I'm making different details that are going to go on the cake. It's for tomorrow, it's for a styled photo shoot. So I'm just basically having fun. I am having fun, but I'm trying to procrastinate a little bit less. So usually what I do is I'm trying to invite you to do something with me. I have a few craft punches and I'm making wafer paper flowers in 2 different sizes, and I'm making wafer paper little sequins. So these are the things I'm making that will go on my cake, and I'll show you the cake again. I hope it's not going to be, it's kind of dry, but it's not like very dry. So that's the cake I'm working on for tomorrow. I already have my cake covered in fondant, and the colors are kind of like lilac, lavender, something, but because it's going to be for a photo shoot, so it's not for a client, it's specifically for a photo shoot. I haven't decided which side is going to be the front side, maybe this one, I haven't decided yet. But that's for a photo shoot. So I wanted my colors to be a little bit brighter, like on a more saturated side compared to making just like white or pale colors, because it's for a photo shoot. And usually darker colors like this cake will translate way better in pictures and videos if you're doing something for a style photo shoot, or even if you wanted to put it outside for a wedding and it's maybe outdoor wedding or something. You need to have brighter colors, more saturated colors compared to what you're going to use if it's an inside wedding, where it depends on the lighting. So that's why this cake is a little bit on the brighter side for me. And I'm going to use a lot of white, light colored elements. White, specifically white. I'm not adding any color. So I have my wafer paper, and I need to make flowers. I already have some prepared, and I just wanted to show you what I'm doing and take you on with me. So it's kind of like a tutorial, kind of not a tutorial. I'm trying to convince myself to do something and be productive. It's very rainy and kind of cold and miserable outside, so I need to get working on this cake. I have a few different details, so it's kind of like my charcuterie board. I made these little leaves out of fondant with stylus powder. I have a few types of different flowers made out of fondant as well to give me different texture. And then a few wafer paper flowers, and I'm going to make more wafer paper flowers in 2 different sizes and make wafer paper sequins. So first, what I have here is I have a bag with my flowers. I use the craft punch and I need to take them out. So I have a piece of wax paper and I need to bring my little sieve for my colors to go to. So and I'll show you in a second what I'm going to do. But basically here I have my wafer paper flowers all cut out of wafer paper using craft punch, and I put a touch of pearl color, doesn't matter, any brand. I put it inside the bag and shake it all together to color my flowers without spending like losing a lot of powder colors. So now what I need to do is to shake them, and my flowers will be covered in like pearl color on all sides without me spinning and doing this manually. So I will collect all my powders, and I use just like maybe less than a quarter teaspoon. So basically I use just a pinch of powder colors and put it in a bag. So here in the bag I have my powder color. You can see it's like very pearlescent, but it's dry powder, and it's just like it's a little bit on the bottom of the bag. And I'm going to use it again and again and again every single time I'm making flowers, just to save money on the ingredients and everything. So I will do the same I will use this bag to make my sequences, and I wanted to color them on both sides. So for my sequences made out of wafer paper, I'm going to use double thickness wafer paper because I have it and I have no idea what to do with it. I'm going to use the regular punch you use to make holes in your papers, documents, whatever you're using. And I think we can even use 2 layers of paper to make my sequences. Then I would need to poke little holes and make my sequences. So basically that's what I have here, my wafer paper, double thickness. And I think I need an owl, or I need a toothpick. Let's see, I have my owl here, and I will collect, I think the best ways to say is to collect or pick up a few paper sequences, like paper rounds on an owl, and poke it through. No, the hole's a little bit too big. Okay, let's see if I can make a smaller hole. Okay, this is better. So, if you can see a little hole inside the paper, it's like where my sequence is, or how it's going to look like. So I'm picking up a few pieces of paper. Where's my tweezers? And I'm putting a little hole with an owl, like this. So that's how my sequin is going to look like. And I'm going to make a few of them and put them in a bag. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. I can talk about anything while I'm making my little sequences. And I'm using double thickness wafer paper just because I have so much of double thickness wafer paper and I need to use it up. So here I have an owl with my paper rounds, and I need to make a hole to make it look like a sequin. And I need to make quite a few of them because my cake is relatively big in size, so I wanted to decorate it with all edible materials. I don't think I'm using anything, like no wires, nothing, just fondant paper and wafer paper, fondant and wafer paper. I'm not using any paper, just different types or different thicknesses of wafer paper. And last time I did the sequences, I used regular wafer paper. Regular, I mean single thickness wafer paper, and I painted a little bit differently. So I wanted to see if I can speed up the process and paint it on both sides. So when I'm going to place it on a cake, I don't have to pick every single one and choose the side for every single one. So that's easy. And again, this is for a styled photo shoot for tomorrow, and I need to make the sequences and flowers, but I'll start with sequences and then I can color my flowers. And if you're joining me live, let me know where you're watching me from, and if you're working on any cake or any projects, or if you have any questions. How did you start your journey into the wedding business? I wanted to make more money. So I started making birthday cakes 10 years ago, about 10 years ago. I left my corporate job and I moved to Florida and I started making birthday cakes because that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to make cakes in general. And hello from Canada. I started to make birthday cakes, and then when I moved to Illinois, to Chicago, I knew that I still wanted to make cakes, but I had to rent a commercial space because in Illinois at that time, it was a long time ago, in Illinois we didn't have cottage food license. Like we didn't have cottage food law, not a license, but cottage food law. So for me to be able to make cakes, any cake, doesn't matter, even if I'm going to bake a birthday cake or something, I had to rent a commercial space. So where I lived in Illinois, we had it wasn't a bakery, they were making different types of goods, but they used the space during the day, and I was renting after hours and baking out of that. But because I had to pay for space, for a commercial space to use to make cakes, I decided to transition into wedding cakes just because of the money. And I always wanted to make wedding cakes. I always wanted to make wafer paper flowers or something decorated with flowers. But basically because I had to charge more, and even living in Chicago, you will make less money making birthday cakes compared to making wedding cakes. So I started to advertise wedding cakes, and the first thing I did is I changed my Instagram, and I changed my Instagram my profile. So I took all the desserts, all the birthday cakes off of my page, and I started posting a lot of wedding cakes. And in the beginning, most of my wedding cakes on my Instagram were dummy cakes. And back in my day, we still had cake competitions. We still had different ways to participate making a dummy cake. So I started making a lot of dummy cakes just for myself, taking classes with different instructors just to learn how to decorate wedding cakes. And I started posting on my social media and reaching out to wedding photographers and event planners in my area to collaborate on style photo shoots and so on. So most of my clients are for wedding cakes, they are from event planners, because if you wanted to charge more for your wedding cakes, in general, you have to work with an event planner, because as I teach it in my cake pricing masterclass, think about that in a way that we all have limited resources, and you either have time or you have money. Same for your clients. Your clients, if you want your clients to pay you a lot of money or whatever amount of money you want to be paid for your cakes, the more money they have to spend on their wedding, the less time they have. And people who don't have time to organize their own weddings, but they have money, usually they hire event planners for that exact reason. So they don't have time, they need to pay someone to organize their wedding. And if you wanted to start making wedding cakes, and you wanted to even be in entertainment industry in terms of making cakes for different larger events, you need to work with people who are going to bring you those clients. And if you wanted to find your clients on different Facebook groups and places where brides or grooms are looking for all the catering companies and all of that by themselves, most of the time it means that they have time, so they're trying to save a little bit of money or a lot of money. Wedding sounds expensive. So if you wanted to work with high-end clients, go where all the high-end clients spend their time, which is event planners, or collaborate with photographers who are charging a lot for their services, and they will bring or send over to you their clients who have a little bit more money. So I'm going to put my little sequences in this bag. I'm still using the same bag for my to cover my wafer paper in pearl dust, and this is just a plastic bag with maybe 1/4 teaspoon of pearl color. I'm using Saracina pearl powder pearl, but any pearl color will work for that. And not just pearl, if you wanted to color your flowers, all of them in a dry, any powder color, if you wanted to add pink or whatever color you're working with, just put it in the same Ziploc bag, lock it. I'm trying not to shake it too much until it's hot. So now I have my sequences here. You can see I placed them in the bag, and I'm just going to shake it on all sides to cover them in pearl color, without doing it manually, like without coloring every single one by hand. And then to remove my sequences and separate them from the pearl color, I'm going to take it out of my bag and put it through a sieve. Same procedure as we did for our flowers, but you can reuse this powder color as many times as you want to. So I'm trying not to breathe. So now I have my sequences colored in pearl color, and I will put them back together with my previous sequences. And I'm going to do this different procedure to color my flowers. I'll put it back in the bag. And I wanted to color my flowers and I wanted to shape them. They are made out of wafer paper. I already pre-cut them, but I'll show you in a second. And I wanted to shape them and leave them to dry so I can assemble them on a cake today. Wafer paper dries very quickly, even though it's raining now here, so my humidity is relatively high. I would say that my humidity is maybe 75-80% here. So I'm not going to use as much glycerin with my wafer paper conditioner because I don't want it to disappear or to dissolve and melt because of the humidity. So what I'm going to do is I'll take a piece of wafer paper. Do I have a piece of wafer paper? So I'll take just regular wafer paper, and regular is 0.27 millimeters or 0.30 millimeters, depends on when did you get your wafer paper. And I wanted to color my flowers on the shiny side. And it depends, so it's personal preference. There is no right or wrong side, whatever you wanted to do. I prefer to use shiny side for some flowers, and certain flowers I make rough side. So this is shiny side. You can see it's very smooth and it's very shiny. And the other side of the wafer paper is bumpy or rough side because it has more like a skin texture. And to cut my wafer paper, I'm going to use a craft punch. This one is by EK Tools, and you can find on Amazon. I buy my craft punches on Amazon. I like this specific brand and this specific size, and I'm going to punch my flowers out of wafer paper. I have my wafer paper folded in 2 layers because I'm making like a larger flowers, and I find that this will give me the most amount of flowers possible. And for the most part, if I can save a little bit of resources and color my wafer paper after it's been cut, I will do that, because then I can reuse my wafer paper scraps for other things like making velvet texture or even making my wafer paper glue. So that's why I'm going to color my wafer paper, especially in the pearl color. I'm going to color it after I cut my flowers. So I'm putting all my wafer paper scraps on the side so I can reuse them. And for my flower, it's going to be very quick and easy process, and all I need is my wafer paper conditioner and a little bit of pearl color. So now I have my flowers here. I'm going to place them all shiny side up because that's how I wanted to color them. And I make these or similar type of flowers all the time because they are very useful if you need to create any texture on your cake. So these are my flowers. And I have a lot of petal formers or shapers or different types of plastic or foam where I can place my petals to dry. I have a few pieces of bumpy foam like this, you can see. It's textural, and I have a few more different types of shapers because I prefer to have a lot of them at the same time and then shape my flowers. So I'll take a piece of some sort of working surface. I have my flowers here. I need a large brush, and I use the same brush I use for all my wafer paper flowers when I'm conditioning it. And something where I can mix my wafer paper conditioner. So I have place for my wafer paper conditioner, and I'm going to use my own recipe of the wafer paper conditioner, which is acetonic. You can download on my page, it's free. And I'm going to mix it with a touch of pearl color. And for pearl color, I love using this airbrush color. You can see it's kind of like a liquidy pearl color, and I find this is the most beautiful wetting color. Just don't forget to shake it. So this is going to be the main ingredient for my flowers to make them pearlescent. Even though wafer paper is white and it's going to stay white, but I want my liquid mixture to be pearlescent as well. So, and I will apply my wafer paper conditioner with the color. You can see how like pearlescent and beautiful it is. I'm going to apply that onto my flowers, just kind of like in a random pattern, because all I need to do is to give it a little bit of moisture. So I will be able to shape it and put it in a former to dry. And I will do a lot of petals at the same time because I want them to sit on my table for a few seconds and get some saturation with the moisture, so then I can shape it. And to shape my flowers, you can see these are very basic 5-petal shapes. I usually just do, so I put it on my finger and I pinch it from the other side like this to create something like very textural and bring them all together. And then it will make it very easy to insert into my cake or to assemble with other flowers. And I'm not putting a lot of attention or effort into thinking of what I'm doing. But basically I'm just folding them over my finger and pinch them from the back like this, and then placing in a petal former or some other place to dry and give this shape some time to dry. Maybe 10-15 minutes. I'm not going to assemble them right away. I'm going to assemble them on a cake maybe later today. So I wanted to have these flowers ready when I'm going to assemble them. So just over my finger and pinch them all together. If you wanted to give it a different shape, you can condition your petals first and then place them over a petal shape or something to make it more rounded. So with the same craft punch, with the same shape, you can make a lot of different flowers, but make sure that you are sizing up in a way, because if you're going to make this type of flowers and pinch them, they will get smaller as you're bringing all together. Because also you can make something like this. This is the same craft punch, and then you can stack them. You can make one shape like this and the other shape in a different way. But for something like the cake I'm working on, I think that the pinching method works the best because it gives me a beautiful textural element I can put on my cake, and it doesn't take a lot of time to make this. So I'm just bringing all of them together and placing them on my petal former to dry. I'll show you a cake in a second if you're just joining me. I saw people joining from Canada, from the UK, and if you're just joining us me live, let me know where you're watching from. I live in South Carolina and I love it. I had this conversation with the lady today. She just moved to South Carolina, and I moved to South Carolina not that long ago. And we had a whole conversation in the car, out of the shop, and she's like, "Oh, I love it, and I'm obsessed with South Carolina." In a good way, because people here are kind of nice, and because of the weather, and we have the ocean. And Montreal, Canada, London, fun. It's probably way later at night in London. It's 3:30 p.m., 3:40 p.m. here, and we all know what is the day today. At least if you are in the States, you know what is the day today. We all are waiting for something to happen today. I probably will save this life. Yes, I saw Poland, I saw Turkey, and hello. That's exciting. You're another part of the world. In Italy is 21 or 9:40. Morocco. So you are probably not working already. And I'm just working on a cake for tomorrow. Okay, let me show you the cake. So you will see what I'm working on. Russia. Yes, I use 0.30 millimeters for my wafer paper for this one. So this is the cake I'm working on. You can see it's covered in fondant, and I have like textural bas relief. Let me show you where I started placing all the decorations. So you can see here I have some of my decorations, like little leaves, little flowers, and my sequences. So this is going to be cake for tomorrow. And I need to make these flowers so they will go like everywhere on the cake. Let me grab one. So everywhere on the cake to add more texture. That's why I'm making that for my cake. I saw Germany, Slovenia. That's exciting. And I make sugar flowers. That's amazing. I make wafer paper flowers most of the time, just because it's faster, and you can see I don't need to spend hours cutting every single petal by hand. I can speed it up compared to making sugar flowers. And because I work by myself and I have to deliver all my cakes by myself, sometimes a cake with all the sugar flowers is just too heavy for me to carry. So I prefer wafer paper flowers for that reason specifically. And I think, at least for me, or for my experience, wafer paper is way more manageable and predictable in high humidities, because I know my ways how to make wafer paper flowers less fragile and do that for the high humidities if I need to deliver a cake. And I need your opinion. Yeah, ask a question. If you have a question, feel free to ask it. I'll try to answer if I can. If you just need my opinion, I can share my opinion on anything, almost anything. We're not talking politics, and we're not talking about certain things. I started to make wafer paper peonies thanks to your online masterclass, and I'm in love with the wafer paper. Yay! That's good. I love those peonies. I still have some of them. I think even though we had a hurricane and a few mishaps with the masterclass and needed to reschedule that, I think that it went relatively well. I have a lot of good feedback about that. And let me know if you wanted to do another masterclass for roses or something else, maybe ranunculuses, something where you can learn a different type of flower using wafer paper. Because obviously I love working with wafer paper and I love teaching, and it's just like the best thing where I can teach how to work with wafer paper. But you can see I'm making these flowers in like no time, just for the decoration, because some people prefer to have all edible decorations on their cakes, and I have a few different methods how to make beautiful flowers out of wafer paper and make them edible. because I think with gum paste or sugar paste, it's not edible. In my personal opinion, I do not consider gum paste edible. So if you wanted to create a design that people would love to consume and eat the whole thing, I would suggest you to make wafer paper anyway, because it's edible. Yes, the hurricane. Yes, it was quite a journey, canceling and rescheduling, but it was worth it. And we had more than one class, which was fun in a different way both times. And from Morocco, I wanted to go to Morocco. I wanted to go to a few different places. I wanted to go to a lot of different places, but Morocco is over there, and Ireland, and a few other places I wanted to go to as soon as I can. Maybe during the winter time, during the winter break. Hello. I'm just making wafer paper flowers, fully edible, for my cake. And another thing, if you're making wafer paper flowers for something like this, for a cake, for a style photo shoot, you can make a lot of wafer paper flowers very quickly, and it's very affordable. If you're just building your portfolio, or you never made any cakes for a client and you wanted to put something into your portfolio, just make a dummy cake, cover it in cheapest fondant. Like for my fondant, I use Wilton. It is like as cheap as it gets, and because no one is going to eat it anyway, it's a dummy cake. And I put wafer paper flowers on top of that, and I can put another cake on my portfolio. And I'm driving to Charlotte tomorrow. We have a beautiful location for the shoot in Charlotte tomorrow. It's not that far, but it's still like a little bit over 2 hours drive. It's outside of Charlotte. So using wafer paper on a dummy cake, I know I'm not going to worry about the delivery. I'm not going to worry about anything else. It's going to be totally fine. And glad to see you. Hello, Amanda. Hello. It's so fun. It's been quite some time since I went live on Instagram. I think I'm trying to get back on the schedule with my social media and just being more active on social media and YouTube. I'm still trying to get back on YouTube, but I don't have an editor at the moment, and I have to edit all my videos myself, and I don't like doing that, so that's why I'm procrastinating. But at least I'm making a cake today, which is counting. Hello from Argentina. Amanda says we are making iced sugar cookies today for a baby, with a baby wafer paper flowers. Yes, with a lot of pretty colors. I cannot wait to see them. I love wafer paper for that reason as well. You can use it on a cookie, or you can use it on a cupcake, and it's safe it's like free of all the allergens. And obviously I'm not affiliated with any companies. I'm not getting paid by anyone. I sell my own ebook, and that's how I make money. So I can say whatever I want. I'm not affiliated with anyone. None of the companies are sponsoring me. So if someone wants to sponsor me, I'll talk about you too. But in general, yes, wafer paper is very easy to work with and safe to consume, especially for kids. If you are just starting out and you're still making decorations and cakes for kids. I'm participating in a program. It's called Icing Smiles, and they connect bakers and kids with certain diseases. So every child who's in hospital, like going through certain medical conditions, can request a cake from Icing Smiles, and Icing Smiles will connect that child or his parents with a baker. And I've been doing this for a long period of time, like almost the whole 10 years. And when I lived in Florida, when I lived in Illinois, now I'm in South Carolina, and last time or the time before that, so I got a call for a cake for a girl who wanted to have a themed cake for cow, so I made a cow cake. But because it was a girl, it was her sweet 16th birthday, and I wanted to make like a crown, like a flower crown for that cow. And the flower crown, obviously all the flowers were made out of wafer paper with using edible colors like gel and powder colors, and with candy as a center for my flowers. So everything, the whole thing was edible, and I didn't have to worry about this girl or her friends eating any pieces of wire or anything like that. So that's why I recommend you to try working with wafer paper, even if you're not making wedding cakes, that you need to make something for your child or somebody else's child. Wafer paper is way safer because kids can eat it without any concerns compared to using sugar flowers, because sugar flowers like gum paste flowers, they have to be removed before you can eat it. Hello, hello, hello. I saw someone said hello from Palestine. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm doing nothing. I'm not it's not like I'm doing nothing. I'm making flowers, and I need to make flowers for a cake I'm working on. This is the beauty, or like partially, and to decorate it with wafer paper flowers. I have a few different sizes for my wafer paper flowers and wafer paper sequences. That's what we made earlier today in our live stream. Hello from Canada, and I'm just making flowers using craft punch and wafer paper. So if you just join us, we're just talking about all the things, but what I have here is wafer paper, single thickness, 0.30 millimeters, and I'm painting with my wafer paper conditioner Acetonic, which you can find a free recipe on my Instagram. It's in the Instagram highlights, and a touch of airbrush color. And I'm just taking my flowers. I use a craft punch, and you can see this is the shape of the flower, and the craft punch I use is this one. You can find on Amazon, or I believe you can come in 100, and I will send you the links for everything. Or you can find it, I think you can come in 100, just 100, and my chatbot will send you the links for everything, including that craft punch, because I use it all the time. And I'm just painting with my wafer paper conditioner, very thin layer. You can see it's not melting, it's just becoming softer. And then to shape my flower, I put it on my finger with bumpy side up, because I want my bumpy side to be the outside. And I'm just gently pinching it like this. And I can put it on a former to dry. And when it dries, like these ones I started making just a few moments ago. When it dries, it becomes very, very beautiful textural little flower that you can put on your cake or assemble all together. And some of them become a little bit more open, some of them become a little bit more closed, depends on how you're going to place it on your former to dry. And in general, wafer paper dries within maybe like 5 minutes. And if you are in a dry climate, if your humidity on the higher side, like it is raining right now, so my humidity is probably like 70%, it probably will take maybe 30 minutes to dry fully before I'm going to assemble them or place them on a cake, but I still have time today. I assume if you're living in the States, we are going to have a long day today, so I'm trying to keep myself busy, and then I will assemble the cake while doing or watching other stuff today. So, and I'm conditioning a few petals at the same time because it needs a second to absorb, and then I can shape it. So then I'll start with taking my first one and shaping it. And I saw a question, let me go back. What is your, what is your brushing? You mean what I use to condition my petal with? So to condition my wafer paper, if you are new here, by the way, if you're new here and this is your first time watching me, my name is Anna. Hi. I'm a pastry chef and I make wedding cakes, and I teach how to make wedding cakes, and my specialty is wafer paper flowers. You can see quite a few, all of them are wafer paper everywhere. I teach wafer paper specifically. So I use my conditioner. I develop a method of working with wafer paper using wafer paper conditioner. And my wafer paper conditioner, where it is, here it is. It's called AC Tonic. Why it's called that? Because it stands for Astashkina Cakes, the previous name of my business. But now if you Google AC Tonic, or you can go on my Instagram highlights, you will find a recipe for my wafer paper conditioner. So you're applying a glycerin-based wafer paper conditioner. So basically it's just glycerin and water, and there are different ratios or ways to mix it to apply on wafer paper in different conditions. Like when it's humid, when it's dry, you can adjust your wafer paper conditioner. And then you can, if you can get away with just using wafer paper conditioner, good for you. If you can, then add a touch of cornstarch to prevent your wafer paper from melting. But you can find this recipe for free on my Instagram. It's just a glycerin-based conditioner to help your wafer paper to stay flexible for a long period of time. Doing lesson plans, no time to cook, but have fun. Oh yeah, I am having fun. Wafer paper is always fun for me. I think I have enough. Should I finish? I have just 4 left. And then I probably will go back and make more of the sequences, because I don't think that I have enough edible sequins for my cake. But I still have all this plastic, I just need to poke a lot of holes in wafer paper. And for my color, I use either, when I need to color a wafer paper, I either use airbrush color to add to my conditioner, to mix with my conditioner. It's either airbrush color or it's gel color. But my favorite is airbrush, because I find it dilutes in the conditioner way faster than a gel color. And today I'm using pearl color. So if you're making any wafer paper, or even probably just wafer paper flowers, or working in on a wedding cake, I highly recommend you to use a lot of pearl colors or gentle muted pastel colors, because that's what weddings are all about. And then I'm placing my flowers on a foam or on a paddle shaper to dry, so I can place them on a cake that I have here. Okay, my last one. And for my cake, I used different types of decorations, like here, where it is this side. So I have my bas relief, so my cake is covered in fondant, and I use cheap Wilton fondant for dummy cakes. But the secret is to use cheap fondant is to add a touch of CMC or Tyler's powder, so it's a little bit stiffer and easier to work with. And I have bas relief here, and you can see I added a few different leaves and a few different sugar flowers to my bas relief. So that's how I'm building my texture, is I'm using different pieces of bas relief, and then I add on top of that things like this. So this is what I have to add to my cake. I have little, like tiny leaves that I use a little veneer for, so you can see these are my little leaves for decorations. I have a few of like this type of sugar flowers and wafer paper flowers, and I use this edible sequins like this. So these ones are, and my wafer paper flowers. So I'm just like creating all these different textures to add onto my cake and to build my design. What types of molds do you use for bas relief? I only use one mold. It's called Flower Medallion 2 by First Impression molds. So I only use one. All my cakes, 99% of my cakes are made with the same mold. It's called Flower Medallion by First Impression. You will see there are like 3 different flower medallions, and then you just cut them and assemble in a different way. love the white for the wafer paper. Yes, it makes so much easier. It makes our life so much easier. Just like wafer paper, white, and that's it. So I'm going to make more of my sequins. And for that, I will bring my double thickness wafer paper again. And I'm using double thickness because I want my sequences to be a little bit more visible and pronounced on my cake. And I have just a few pieces left. And to make my sequences, edible sequences out of wafer paper, I will take my 2 layers of wafer paper and just a very basic hole punch, the one you use for your papers and whatever. I think we all have something like this in our houses. If you go to school or ever went to school, we all have that. Sometimes it's like 2 holes. I found this one, and I think this one is much easier to use for making wafer paper sequences. So that's how I'm making my little circles out of wafer paper. And then I'm going to punch a little hole with an owl. Let me finish this one. And if you have kids, husbands, parents, any other people, not animals, living in your house, you can give them a craft punch and a piece of wafer paper and let them do the work to punch a lot of different little flowers out of wafer paper and just in general to have fun. So my little tiny future sequences, and to make a little hole or to make them look like a sequence, I'm using an owl, like a regular owl, and I'm poking a little hole here at the bottom and like this. So you can see I'm poking through my little sequin. I wish they could help me. Yeah, sometimes it might be not as easy as it sounds, but if I have guests, like little guests, I can ask them, or I can convince them to punch a few flowers out of wafer paper. They are old enough and they wanted to help. And usually girls are, at least in my experience, little girls like making flowers. And where did you get your work mat? Of Amazon? This one, the blue one? Yes, it's called a flower pad, and you can get it off Amazon, and they come in different colors. This is just soft surface to shape your flowers on, and I have them in different colors, but this one was closer in my drawer to use for something like this. Yes, but I get everything. Again, I'm not sponsored by any company, so I always buy everything with my own money, and I'm always looking for a way to spend as little as possible, because especially if you are starting out and you're not making any money, or you're not making enough money from selling your cakes yet, everything might seem as a very expensive. Even buying a craft punch or something, it's a big expense if you are not making money. So I'm always very mindful about showing you new toys or showing you new things, because I know that some of you might want to buy them and play, but it's an expense. So everything you see on my table, I've been using the same tools, I've been using the same things for the last 10 years. It's the same. I missed the start, so probably it's going to be available on my YouTube channel, maybe, and I will try to save it here on Instagram, but you know the technologies, sometimes they are not working in our favor. But yes, I'm not doing anything fancy, I'm just talking to you and answering your questions. If you have any about wafer paper, having a business, teaching business, baking business, about my experience and how I spend my money. We all wanted to know how other people spend their money. I don't think there is anything bad about that. But I'm fully aware of my influence in a way. I don't like the word influence, But in general, I understand if I'm showing you something fancy, you might want to buy that. And I am trying to be mindful of you not buying things you might not need. That's why I'm so in love with the wafer paper, because you don't need to spend money on all the veneers. You don't need to buy new colors. You can make all wafer paper flowers with just a pair of scissors. So basically you need to buy a bag of wafer paper, which I believe like the cheapest one you can buy is $11 or something, or $25 for a pack of 100 sheets. So it's a lot of wafer paper, and you might not go through that in a year or 2 years. And a pair of sharp scissors and glycerin to make the conditioner, and that's it. You should have all the tools and everything you might need to make any flower, at least to get started. So wafer paper, you can start with wafer paper, making wafer paper flowers in maybe, considering that you have a few tools at home, but you need to buy wafer paper, you need to buy glycerin, you might want to buy something like a flower pot like this, and then you can start in maybe like $30 or less. So even if you're using or learning how to work with wafer paper as a hobby, it can be a very affordable hobby compared to making sugar flowers. In what time will dry the flowers you made? It depends on the humidity. So I mean, like my humidity is a little bit higher, but these are already dry. So you can see they're already like relatively dry, maybe 80% dry, and I will leave them for maybe another 30 minutes just because my humidity is very high. Today it's raining, but if I need to speed it up, if I wanted to make them faster in a way, like to speed up the process, I use heat gun. So if I have to force it a little bit, I can use a heat gun and dry my wafer paper flowers faster. In the general normal conditions, when it's not raining and or when my air conditioner is running and my environment is dry, wafer paper will dry like 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. So usually it's while I'm working and finishing making my flowers, the first one will already be fully dry and ready to work with. So I have my sequences. I have a bag with a touch of powder color. You can see I have a little bit of powder color on the bottom here. And this is the shimmer or pearl powder color. And I'm going to place my sequences here. In that way, I will color them all together without needing to color a full sheet of wafer paper. Because again, it goes to the same principles. I'm trying to be mindful about the resources. So if I don't need to color wafer paper, a whole sheet of wafer paper, I'm not going to do that. I'm only going to color as much wafer paper as I need. So that's why I have my little bag with pearl color, and I'm reusing the same little bag with the same pearl color over and over again. So here are my sequences all here in the bag. I'm going to close it like this, and I'm going to shape it. So I will color all my sequences all together in this pearl iridescent color. And the last step to do is to take them out of the bag. I have my flowers everywhere. Wafer paper flowers drying on my table. So I have a piece of wax paper and I have a little sieve. Dry, nothing else. And I will put my flowers, or my sequences, through a sieve like this to shake it and to remove all the extra pearl color. And then I will collect the pearl color and reuse it again. But now I have my sequences all colored in like this pearl powder color. And same with my flowers like this. I have like a smaller flowers here. All of them will go on my cake. Okay, let me put it down for a second. And here are my little flowers, and all of them are in a pearl color as well. I haven't decided if I wanted to shape them because I kind of wanted to have a different texture compared to my larger flowers. But if I would wanted to shape my wafer paper flowers that are dry, or I colored with a dry method, I would place them on my foam pot, something like this. Doesn't matter, depends. No, for me it doesn't matter which side I'm going to use. And I have my mini mister. I need to put a touch of water in there. And any tools that are going to produce moisture, I'm using this mini mister thing, because you can see it just makes a little bit of steam, but it's cold steam. So I might steam my flowers just a little bit, even though I'm in a very humid climate, so it shouldn't be a problem. But if you wanted to shape your wafer paper without melting it, or you're new to working with wafer paper, just steam it a little bit and grab a ball tool. Let me grab my ball tool and shape it a little bit. So any ball tool, metal, plastic, doesn't matter, whatever works for you. Steam it just a little bit so you won't break your wafer paper. Depends on your humidity. My humidity is high, I should not have any problems, but in general, if you wanted to give your wafer paper some help, you can just use your little steamer and then run your ball tool to make it not as flat as just regular wafer paper. But it depends on the design you are after. I'm just doing that way. And I do the same for all my little flowers if I'm making some sort of decorations. Most of the time I prefer to give them just a little bit of shape so it doesn't look flat and boring. So now they are cupped, and it took me 5 seconds to do all of that. And I'll show you a cake I have behind me. I have another cake behind me that's it's a little bit heavy, but that's what I mean by shaping these flowers. So you can see these are just plain wafer paper flowers in different colors, a touch of pink and a touch of white or pearlescent color, and then I just cup them a little bit and place them on a cake like this. There is a back to this cake with no decorations, but basically that's how I use it and how I make these types of decorations for my cakes. Okay, I'm going to look at my table and see if I can manage doing anything else. My flowers are dry completely. That's the ones we are made just right now. So they are dry, but I will give them maybe another minute to dry and prepare more. I don't even know, I think I have everything I need. Flowers, I have my piping gel, sequences, wafer paper flowers, so I can start working on a cake. And that's what I'm going to do today. And so that's what on my schedule for the day. I think I'm going to make myself a cup of tea, take a little break, clean my table, wait for my wafer paper flowers to dry completely, and assemble everything on the cake. And if I will be in the mood, I will go live a little bit later today and show you what I'm doing when assembling all these flowers together. We'll see. I hope things will go well and we'll survive today. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoy that. And if you're watching a replay, leave me a comment, because based on your reaction and participation, I will know if you wanted me to do more of these live streams or less, or maybe you're not enjoying it. And I'll see you around. So, see you again. Have a fun day and let me know if you have any questions.